A new form of coronavirus is sending the world into fear. It started last December in Wuhan, China. There is no concrete evidence about where it originated, but it is suspected that the high contagious virus started from human contact with bat and/or snake feces. The number of patients is rapidly increasing in China and around the world. In Korea, we don't have any casualties yet, but the number of the infected is on the rise. What was especially worrisome to Koreans is the fact that even a traveler who didn't visit China was infected, possibly by coming into contact with someone who had the virus. As the world is getting closer in the 21st century, more people will cross borders. Once in a while, we see an outbreak of highly contagious viruses and germs. For example, SARS in 2004 and MERS in 2015. Globalized infections seem to be unavoidable in this highly connected world. But experts point out there is no need to panic, and we shouldn't be swayed by fake news. The outbreak of this coronavirus also can be put under control, and the first step towards preventing the infection begins with personal hygiene, which is to wash your hands thoroughly and wear a surgical mask in public places. Hope for the best, but plan for the worst. We should be prepared to prevent getting sick, but we should not live in fear. So the first sentence was kind of an idiom that we use. It's hope for the best, but plan for the worst. So, if you are going somewhere like a vacation and you hope everything is going to work out, but if you're planning for the worst, that means you should probably buy traveler's insurance. You might lose your bag, so you should pack some extra clothes in your carry-on. It means you hope everything's going to work out, but you should take precautions when you do something. And then finally, I said we should not live in fear. So people who live in fear are constantly afraid of everything. And it's not very good for you because it's very stressful. It causes anxiety. So people who live in fear are always worried and are always nervous. Constantly stressing will not do us any good. We should be mindful of our health, but not let it ruin our daily lives. So in the first part, it's constantly stressing. So people say stressed out or I'm stressed, but you can also say I'm stressing. So for example, if you're about to take a test in an hour and someone asks you, how are you doing? You would say, oh, I'm stressing. Means I'm stressing out about something or I'm currently stressed. Or someone can ask you, hey, why are you stressing? Means why are you worrying? So we can use it in that form rather than saying stressed out or I'm getting stressed. The hysteria over the virus has negatively impacted both the Chinese and Korean economy. Their markets are interconnected. So I said that the hysteria over the virus has negatively impacted both the Chinese and Korean economy. So we talk about hysteria. It's like a general fear and emotional reaction that people have. So it's affected the economy because people think that the coronavirus is out there. They're not going shopping. They're not going to restaurants. Factories are shutting down. People stop traveling. So this is kind of an emotional reaction to something that's happening, and it affects people's behavior. And it affects a lot of people. So that's hysteria. And I said that the markets are interconnected. So, we in Korea buy a lot of products from China, and then a lot of Koreans travel to China, and there's a lot of trade going back and forth between the two countries. So if a store is buying stuff from China and the factory shut down, then they have no stock. Then Koreans can't buy it. It'll affect the store. So we are connected, interconnected, which means we depend on each other when it comes to the economy. The virus has affected everything from production to consumer spending in both Korea and China. This will have a devastating effect on both economies. So a devastating effect means it's really, really bad. For example, one of my clients is a big retail company here in Korea, and some departments are down 80% in sales. That is a devastating number. So a devastating to someone's business means they could go out of business if this keeps going. Preventative measures are the best way to prevent getting sick. Keeping your hands clean and wearing surgical masks may prevent you from getting the virus. So I said preventative measures. So preventative measures is an action you take to prevent something from happening. So, for example, Cathay Pacific, the airline in Hong Kong, they're taking preventative measures on their airline. No pillows, no hot meals, no blankets, no magazines, because people touch those and pass them around, and it could promote more of the virus. So a preventative measure is to take those off the plane. And I said, keeping your hands clean and wearing surgical masks. So when we talk about face masks, it can mean a lot of different things. It can mean like a costume mask, construction mask, but the only one that may prevent the virus is a surgical mask. So a surgical mask is one that's certified for medical procedures. All the other masks are just a waste of money. So when we talk about what mask, we say a surgical mask. Taking precautions such as personal hygiene and wearing a surgical mask may reduce your chances of contracting the virus. So when we said taking precautions, that's being careful by such as personal hygiene. So personal hygiene is kind of encompasses everything about being clean. Washing your hair, brushing your teeth, taking a shower, washing your hands. That's all personal hygiene. Even doing laundry is personal hygiene. So it means kind of the cleanliness of your body. Public safety should be the top priority when dealing with this issue. The government should be open to all options when it comes to relations with China. So in the first part, I said public safety. Public safety just means the general safety and security of a group of people. So for example, if you have a college campus, you would have a public safety officer. It could be a security officer, or it could mean a country. So it means like preventing a disease or preventing a war or, reducing traffic deaths. That's all to improve public safety. Dealing with China will be tricky. There are a lot of factors at play. However, the Korean government's main responsibility is to protect its citizens. So I said dealing with China is tricky. Now, if something's tricky, it's a little bit complicated and it's not that easy. It means it's hard to solve. So for example, if you're doing a math problem and you can't solve it, it's very tricky. Or you're trying to fix something and having difficulty, it could be tricky. But it also could be a situation. So I said there are a lot of factors at play. So in this case, the Korean government is thinking about banning all Chinese tourists from coming into the country. That's called an entry ban. Well, the Chinese people would not like that very much, especially their government. So they might react with economic sanctions or increased taxes. So there's been no serious link to this Chinese disease, and they don't want, the Chinese government doesn't want to be blamed, but the Koreans want it to be safe. So this situation is very complicated, very tricky, and there are many factors at play. That means there are many different things to think about in this complicated situation. All right, guys, thanks for listening. And Tutors is back up. That's TOOTRS.com. And also my email, FEUREY @gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.